making it impossible to ignore the fact that no one else makes him feel quite the way you do. And when someone reaches that realization, it often changes the way they approach the relationship. Because people protect what they value, they become more intentional, more attentive, more aware of how their actions affect the connection, not because they are trying to be perfect, because they understand that some experiences are too meaningful to treat casually. One of the clearest signs of this shift is that he begins noticing your absence. When you are around, things feel lighter, conversations feel easier, life feels a little brighter. And when you are not around, that difference becomes noticeable. Not dramatic, not obsessive, just real. He finds himself wanting to share things with you, wanting to hear your perspective, wanting your presence during moments that matter to him. That desire often reveals emotional significance long before someone fully admits it out loud. Another sign is that he starts becoming more emotionally present. In many interactions, people are only half there, thinking about work, checking their phone, planning what comes next. When someone truly matters, attention changes. He listens more carefully, asks more thoughtful questions, remembers more details, stays engaged longer. Because genuine connection naturally pulls people into the present moment. There is also the way he responds to your success. A man who feels deeply connected often feels genuinely happy when good things happen in your life. He celebrates your wins, encourages your goals, wants to see you thrive. Not because he gains something from it, because your happiness has become meaningful to him. And that is an important distinction. Surface-level attraction often focuses on what someone provides. Deeper connection focuses on who someone is and how much you care about their well-being. Another powerful sign is that he begins sharing parts of himself he does not share with everyone. His fears, his disappointments, his dreams, the things that make him feel uncertain. Vulnerability is rarely given without reason. It usually appears when someone feels safe enough to be seen without pretending. And emotional safety is one of the rarest experiences a relationship can offer. There is also the way meaningful connections create emotional stability. Life can be chaotic, stressful, unpredictable, yet certain people become a source of calm. Not because they solve every problem, because their presence creates comfort. Their perspective creates clarity. Their support creates confidence. When a man consistently experiences those feelings with someone, connection often becomes increasingly valuable. He may also find that arguments feel different. Not easier necessarily, but more worth working through. Instead of immediately pulling away, he wants to understand, communicate, repair, because the relationship feels important enough to protect. That willingness to work through difficulty is often a stronger sign of emotional investment than grand romantic gestures. Another sign is that he starts imagining your reaction to things even when you are not there. He sees something funny and thinks of you, experiences something meaningful and wants to tell you, hears a song and wonders if you would like it. These small mental connections reveal how naturally you have become part of his inner world. There is also a deeper shift that can happen over time. He stops chasing excitement for its own sake and starts valuing peace. Peace is often underestimated because it lacks drama. But peace is what allows trust to grow. It allows vulnerability, consistency, emotional closeness. A man who has experienced relationships filled with uncertainty may find this especially powerful, because feeling secure with someone can be far rarer than feeling temporarily excited by them. Another important sign is that he begins seeing you as part of his support system. When something good happens, he wants to share it. When something difficult happens, he wants your presence. Not because he cannot handle life on his own, because certain people make both joy and struggle feel easier to carry. That is often when a connection moves beyond attraction and becomes genuine partnership. And perhaps the most powerful sign of all is that his appreciation grows with familiarity instead of fading. Many people are exciting at first. Few people become more impressive as you know them longer. But truly meaningful connections often work that way. The more he learns, the more he respects. The more he understands, the more he values. The more experiences you share, the more reasons he finds to appreciate your character, your resilience, your kindness, your honesty, and the way you make life feel when you are in it. That is very different from infatuation. Infatuation often fades when reality appears. Genuine admiration grows as reality becomes clearer, because it is built on substance rather than fantasy. There is another truth worth remembering. People do not usually fall deeply for perfection. They fall deeply for authenticity, for the person who makes them feel understood, accepted, inspired, safe enough to be themselves. And when someone consistently creates those experiences, they often become impossible to compare to anyone else. Not because they are flawless, because they are real, because they bring something into the relationship that cannot be copied. A unique combination of warmth, strength, emotional depth, encouragement, and genuine connection. Over time, a man may realize that many of his happiest moments involve you. Many of his most meaningful conversations involve you. And many of the experiences that helped him grow involve you. He may notice that your presence brings comfort during difficult days, excitement during good days, and a sense of understanding that feels increasingly rare. And as those realizations accumulate, he often reaches a simple but powerful conclusion that what he feels is not just attraction, not just admiration, and not just affection. It is the recognition that someone has become emotionally significant in a way few people ever do, creating an experience of connection that feels deeper, safer, more meaningful, and more irreplaceable than anything he has known before, until he can no longer ignore the truth that no one else makes him feel the way you do. Until he can no longer ignore the truth that no one else makes him feel the way you do. And when that truth becomes clear, something remarkable begins to happen. He starts paying attention to the connection in a different way. Not because someone told him he should, not because he feels pressured, because he recognizes value. And value changes behavior. Think about the things people truly treasure in life. They protect them, they nurture them, they invest in them. The same principle applies to relationships. When a man realizes that a connection brings something unique into his life, his actions often begin reflecting that realization. He becomes more intentional with his time, more thoughtful with his words, more aware of the impact he has on the relationship, because he understands that meaningful connections are not guaranteed. They are rare. Another sign of this deeper realization is that he becomes increasingly grateful. Gratitude is a powerful emotion because it shifts focus away from what is missing and toward what is present. When someone consistently adds value to your life, gratitude grows naturally. A man may find himself appreciating things he once overlooked. The conversations, the encouragement, the emotional support, the laughter, the sense of calm that comes from knowing someone genuinely cares. These experiences become more significant because he understands how uncommon they are. There is also the way meaningful relationships reshape priorities. When someone becomes emotionally important, they naturally move higher on the list of what matters. Not because life stops being busy, not because responsibilities disappear, but because people make time for what they value. They create space. They stay connected. They remain engaged. And those choices reveal far more than words ever could. Another powerful sign is that he becomes more curious about your future. Not in a controlling way. Not because he needs all the answers, but because your future matters to him. Your goals matter. Your dreams matter. Your happiness matters. When someone becomes emotionally significant, concern for their future often becomes a natural extension of caring about them in the present. There is also the way he responds during difficult moments. Anyone can enjoy a relationship when everything feels easy. The real test often comes when challenges appear, misunderstandings, stress, disappointments, unexpected obstacles. A man who truly values the connection often responds differently during these moments. Instead of looking for reasons to leave, he looks for ways to understand. Instead of focusing only on problems, he focuses on solutions, because preserving the connection feels more important than winning an argument. And that mindset reveals a great deal about emotional investment. Another sign is that he notices qualities that others may overlook. Many people see what is obvious, the surface, the first impression, but deeper admiration develops when someone begins appreciating the less visible qualities. The way you handle adversity, the way you remain kind during difficult situations, the way you encourage others, the way you stay true to your values. These qualities often become more attractive over time because they reveal character. And character is what creates lasting respect. There is also a shift in the way he thinks about happiness. Many people spend years searching for excitement, next adventure, next achievement, next experience. But meaningful relationships often teach a different lesson. They reveal that happiness is not always found in dramatic moments. Sometimes it is found in consistency, in trust, in companionship, in feeling understood. A man who discovers this may realize that some of his most fulfilling moments are surprisingly simple. A conversation at the end of a long day, shared laugh, a moment of support, feeling of connection. These experiences become valuable because they provide something deeper than entertainment. They provide emotional fulfillment. Another thing that happens is that he starts feeling a sense of partnership, not ownership, not dependence. Partnership, a feeling that someone is beside him rather than simply passing through his life. That feeling creates stability. And stability creates confidence. It allows people to invest emotionally because they feel the relationship is built on something solid. There is also the way rare connections encourage honesty. When trust grows, honesty becomes easier. Not because difficult conversations disappear, because both people understand that authenticity is more important than pretending. A man who feels safe enough to be honest often develops a stronger connection because honesty creates understanding, and understanding creates intimacy. Another sign is that he begins appreciating your influence on his life, not just your presence, your influence, the way you encourage him, the way you challenge him to grow, the way you help him see things differently, the way you inspire confidence during moments of doubt. These influences often become more meaningful with time because they affect who he is, becoming as a person. And relationships that encourage growth tend to leave a lasting impact. Perhaps one of the most beautiful things about a truly meaningful connection is that appreciation continues expanding rather than shrinking. In many situations, familiarity reduces excitement, but in healthy relationships, familiarity often increases admiration because deeper knowledge reveals deeper value. The more he understands your character, the more reasons he finds to respect it. The more he sees your resilience, the more reasons he finds to admire it. The more he experiences your kindness, the more reasons he finds to appreciate it. This process creates a relationship that feels increasingly rich with meaning. Over time, he may realize that your presence has become woven into many of the experiences he values most. The encouragement that helped him through difficult seasons. Conversations that brought clarity during uncertain moments. Laughter that made ordinary days memorable. The support that gave him strength when challenges appeared. Each experience adds another layer to the connection, reinforcing the understanding that what he feels is built on far more than attraction alone. It is built on trust that has been earned, respect that has been strengthened, and appreciation that has been deepened through countless shared moments. And as these experiences continue accumulating, he begins to see more clearly that what makes someone truly unforgettable is not the ability to create temporary excitement, but the ability to consistently bring meaning into another person's life. Meaning through understanding, meaning through encouragement, meaning through authenticity, meaning through emotional connection that remains steady even when life becomes complicated. The more he recognizes these qualities, the more obvious it becomes that they are extraordinarily rare. They create a sense of closeness that cannot be forced, a sense of trust that cannot be rushed, and a sense of appreciation that continues growing with every passing day. And eventually he understands that some people possess a unique ability to make life feel richer, relationships feel deeper, and the future feel brighter simply because of who they are, leaving an impact that cannot be measured by words alone, and creating a connection that feels more valuable, more meaningful, and more impossible to replace than anything he has ever experienced before. Eventually, he understands that some people possess a unique ability to make life feel richer, relationships feel deeper, and the future feel brighter, simply because of who they are, leaving an impact that cannot be measured by words alone, and creating a connection that feels more valuable, more meaningful, and more impossible to replace than anything he has ever experienced before. When someone reaches that level of realization, they often begin seeing the relationship through a completely different lens. At first, people tend to focus on what they feel, the excitement, the attraction, the curiosity. But over time, the focus shifts toward what the relationship adds to life. And that is where something truly meaningful begins. Because lasting relationships are not sustained by excitement alone. They are sustained by contribution. The way two people improve each other's lives. The way they encourage each other, support each other, understand each other. A man who feels this kind of connection often starts noticing that the relationship has become one of the most positive influences in his life. Not because it is perfect, because it is real. There is also a growing awareness of emotional trust. Trust is often built so gradually that people do not notice it happening. It develops through consistency, through honesty, through reliability, through showing up again and again. Then one day, a person realizes they trust someone with thoughts they rarely share, dreams they rarely discuss, fears they usually keep hidden. That realization is powerful because trust is one of the foundations of emotional intimacy. And emotional intimacy is what separates meaningful relationships from superficial ones. Another sign of this deeper appreciation is that he becomes more protective of the connection itself, not possessive. Protective. There is an important difference. Possessiveness comes from fear. Protection comes from value. When something matters deeply, people naturally want to take care of it. They become more mindful of their actions, more aware of how they communicate, more willing to put effort into maintaining what they have built together. This effort is often not dramatic. It appears in small, daily choices. Listening carefully, following through on promises, being present during important moments, making the relationship a priority, even when life becomes busy. There is also the way meaningful connections create emotional confidence. And someone consistently accepts, supports, and understands you, it becomes easier to be yourself, easier to express thoughts openly, easier to show vulnerability. A man who experiences this often discovers that he feels more confident within the relationship, because he no longer feels the need to constantly prove himself. He feels accepted for who he is, and acceptance is one of the most powerful gifts one person can offer another. Another fascinating thing about rare connections is that they often improve every area of life. People tend to think of relationships as separate from everything else. But meaningful relationships influence mindset, motivation, emotional well-being, personal growth. Supportive connection can inspire someone to pursue goals with greater confidence, to handle setbacks with greater resilience, to approach life with greater optimism. When a man notices these positive effects, his appreciation naturally deepens because he understands that the relationship is contributing something valuable beyond companionship. There is also a sense of emotional relief that develops. The relief of not having to constantly guess where you stand. The relief of feeling understood, the relief of knowing someone genuinely cares. These experiences create emotional stability. And emotional stability is often far more valuable than temporary excitement, because stability allows people to relax into the relationship, to trust it, to invest in it, to grow within it. Another sign that he knows no one makes him feel the way you do is that he begins appreciating qualities he once overlooked. As people mature emotionally, their priorities often change. Characteristics that seemed important in the past may become less significant. Meanwhile, qualities like kindness, integrity, patience, and emotional intelligence become increasingly valuable. A man who recognizes this shift often realizes that what truly enriches a relationship is not perfection, but character. Character is what sustains connection during difficult times. Character is what creates trust. Character is what inspires respect. And respect is one of the strongest forms of attraction that exists. There is also the way rare people make others feel seen, not observed, seen. They notice things. They listen. They understand. They remember. This creates a feeling that is incredibly powerful because every person wants to feel understood on a deeper level. When someone consistently provides that experience, they become difficult to forget. Not because they demand attention, because they create connection. Another important aspect of meaningful relationships is emotional generosity, the willingness to offer encouragement, patience, understanding, compassion, without keeping score. A man who experiences this kind of generosity often finds himself becoming more generous in the return, because healthy relationships have a way of bringing out the best in people. They encourage empathy, growth, kindness, and those qualities strengthen the bond even further. There is also the realization that some people become part of your emotional home. Not a physical place, an emotional one, a place where you feel understood, accepted, valued, supported. Life may remain unpredictable. Challenges may still appear, but certain people create a feeling of steadiness that helps everything else feel more manageable. When a man experiences this consistently, he often begins recognizing just how rare it is. Because emotional safety cannot be forced, it must be earned. Once it is earned, it becomes one of the most valuable aspects of any relationship. Over time, he may notice that his admiration continues growing in unexpected ways. New experiences reveal new strengths. Challenges reveal new layers of character. Conversations reveal new depths of wisdom and understanding. The relationship continues evolving. Not because either person is trying to become someone else, but because genuine connection creates opportunities to discover more of who each person truly is. And with every discovery, appreciation grows. Respect grows. Trust grows. The connection becomes richer because it is built on something real, something tested by time, strengthened by consistency, and deepened through shared experiences. Eventually, he comes to understand that what makes someone unforgettable is not a single moment, a single quality, or a single feeling. It is the accumulation of countless moments that consistently demonstrate authenticity, kindness, resilience, emotional depth, and genuine care. It is the realization that someone has contributed comfort during difficult seasons, encouragement during uncertain seasons, and joy during ordinary seasons. It is the understanding that their presence has quietly improved the quality of life itself. And when that realization becomes impossible to ignore, he sees clearly that no one else has been able to create the same combination of trust, peace, inspiration, understanding, and emotional connection, because what he has found is not merely attraction or compatibility, but a rare and meaningful bond that continues growing stronger, deeper, and more valuable with every passing day, becoming a source of appreciation that extends far beyond what words alone could ever fully express.